Hi, I'm Ashley.
And I'm Bree.
We're the PR team
Behind the Theatre Downstream.
For our 6th season. We wanted to get to know the people behind the characters. We wanted to get real. This week, we continue our Sound of Music conversations by interviewing the Captain Von Trapp himself, Mr. Joshua Ruwet. Joshua joined me for a rollicking conversation, including what his original acting dreams were and why he had to abandon them, how his mother and his daughter got him back onto the stage again after 20 years, and why he hopes that after each show, he'll just be able to get to his car safely. Our conversation topics range from serious to silly, but they were always fascinating. Welcome to Getting Real.
Thanks for having me.
You are very welcome. Can you tell us your name and what character you play?
I am Joshua Ruwet, and I play the part of Captain Von Trapp.
Ooh, very nice. Can you tell me what your day job is and how long you have been there?
Yes, I am a regional manager with Becton Dickinson, which is a medical device company.
Sounds like Michael Scott.
Yeah, it's about that exciting. I just celebrated 10 years with the company, although we haven't always had the same name. I was acquired, but never changed really roles.
So what do you do? What does that company do?
So we've changed a little bit over the time, but my area is in surgical. And so we handle surgical skin antisepsis and hair removal, and then also hemostatic agents in surgery, and then a pleural air leak sealant, like for lungs, people that have lobectomies, so cardiothoracics, really exciting things.
So, okay, that sounded like a whole lot of fancy, amazing, impressive stuff. Can you explain it to me in like regular people terms?
So, yeah, the way I would explain it, at one point I did medical instrumentation, and so...
Do you sell them?
Yes, we sell them.
Okay.
But how that functions, the way I explained it is, so I had a cousin that worked for TaylorMade Golf, and then I think he worked for another company, but much like he could work with expert golfers, he wasn't teaching them how to swing or how to play the game. He was just saying, hey, I think this particular club will help you. And that's kind of what we do.
Okay.
In working with the surgeons is say, hey, I noticed
during
this particular
scalpel
procedure, I think this could help you.
So do you observe surgeries?
Yes. So most people don't know this, but a lot of times when you are under, there is some guy that is not a surgeon or a nurse
you
sitting in your
paperwork that says there may be some guy in here.
But we're there for support. Yeah.
Okay.
We don't ever get hands-on.
You don't ever scalpel and you hand it to them.
Right.
You're like, this one might work.
No. And they'll even ask sometimes a question like, what do you think? And I don't dare touch that question. I'm like, well, only one of us went to med school and it's not me.
What do you think? What did you want to be growing up?
Oh, man. Well, the earliest memory I have of wanting to be something is I wanted to be a motorcycle driver. I just remember that at one point, me and my childhood friend at the time, Matt Hopkins, I think both recently learned to ride bikes. We had like BMX, and that was what I wanted to be. And I think then it morphed at some point into being a jet fighter pilot.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you see Top Gun or something?
Probably. Mm-hmm. And then when I actually started to think about things that were realistic.
You mean that wasn't realistic?
Well, motorcycles or jets, one of the two. Although Top Gun, he combined the two.
That's
so
true.
Really, Tom Cruise's character really was my
hero.
My goal.
Yes.
Yeah, missed that window. So what did I want to do?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess into adulthood, what did I want to do was probably shaped by what I was able to do.
Okay.
At some point, and probably about junior high, realized I could act. Was never very athletic. I mean, it wasn't, terrible, but I wasn't a natural at sports. And, most kids I knew or whatever had a knack for something. And my sister was very, very intelligent. I think she worked hard, but school also came a little easier for her. She can sing. She still can. But I didn't really have anything. And then at some point, the one I remember most was auditioning for Pinocchio when I was in 8th grade for community theater, and then got the lead.
Oh, you were Pinocchio?
Was Pinocchio.
Very nice.
And really enjoyed it, and was like, oh, this feels natural, and could remember, memorize the lines. And at that point, your teachers that are into the arts kind of start paying attention, and they start drawing you into things. Of course, it wasn't cool as
to be in theater.
Yeah, because I'm going into high school, and I'm like, I remember I wanted to go out. I played soccer, not well, and that's what all my buddies were into. And so I played, junior varsity, and then I remember got injured pretty good and hurt my back, and it was enough to make me go, well, let's just own the fact that this isn't.
There's a lot of people who get injured in sports that end up becoming actors. Like the first one that came to my mind was Burt Reynolds. He got injured in football, and he's like, I think I'll just act instead.
Yeah.
Why not?
And it's funny because I remember I turned down a musical lead to play soccer, which I didn't play.
What musical lead did you turn down?
It was Give My Regards to Broadway.
Oh, George M. Cohen?
Yeah, and I remember the teacher that was directing that was pretty upset.
I bet.
And then, and I think she wanted to say, "You're not a good soccer player, be it." She probably should have. Somebody probably should have just like, "Hey man, let's just level with you."
Let's just tell you the
I've
truth
seen your
here.
game.
Yeah, you're
It's
not.
not really
Soccer's not your thing.
not really in the cards. And I just kind of, I wanted to do well at something. Probably the high school self-esteem things. Did a musical my freshman year, Once Upon a Mattress, and got the part of King Sextimus.
Oh, fun.
And that was a blast. And I was better friends probably at that time. My sister, who's 17 months older, but we've always been buddies. I kind of, we shared a lot of the same friends. So a lot
Only
of us.
17 months? Wow, my sister and I are 18 months apart.
There you go. So we fought and played a lot. After that, I think it still kind of wasn't into some of the. I'm trying to think why, but I never really got back into the high school musicals. And
Was your sister in Once Upon a Mattress?
she was Winifred.
Ah,
Winifred.
okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the names.
Okay, so that's why they didn't put you as Dauntless, because that'd have been weird.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Because I thought I was thinking about, like, he would have made a great Dauntless, but that makes sense.
Anyway, and then I don't know why, but I didn't ever go back in to do another musical. But I did go into speech and drama. Did really well there in the solo acting. Like kind of, you had these competitions, and it was a new high school, so we didn't have anything really in the trophy shelf. Our football team never won a game. But I was throwing trophies, which is funny, right, to say from acting.
Yeah.
Look at my feat of strength. So I was, behold, and I was, putting trophies on the shelf at the school. So I had a nice big portion of the trophy case.
That's nice.
Yeah, for acting, which, really
cool.
the ladies couldn't believe it. And it's just amazing. So did that, and then made Governor School for the Arts as a junior or whatever. It was like the year before. I think you had like 2 years. I got it the first year.
Yeah. At
that point, this is the long answer to your question.
That's all right.
What did you want to be? So I assumed, and it was kind of ingrained in me, this is what you're good at. This is what you need to decide now. Go pursue. And of course, in my mind, that was, love to go be in
Broadway?
the movies. It wasn't even, well, it's funny because as much as I really enjoyed acting, I wanted to be in movies. Of course, naivety at the time of what that entails and where you'd have to live and so forth. But that's kind of what happened. Went to college, went on a theater scholarship at Jordan College of Fine Arts at Butler. Did very well there. And I don't know, I think at some point God intervened in my life. I was big man on campus freshman year. By that point, all the staff and my professors, they knew my ability. I had to audition for everything because it was part of my scholarship.
Okay.
But I was getting burnt out. And I remember it was a musical, interestingly enough, that we're doing a musical now. I can't remember the musical, but I was fried.
So you haven't acted since college? Is that what you're going to end with?
Yes.
What?
So, yeah, I think the last play I was in was Laundry and Bourbon and Lone Star, and I was one of the leads for Lone Star. They wanted me to be in a musical, and I didn't want to audition, and they're like, you have to.
Because of your scholarship.
And I was like, I don't want to audition.
Oh, what did you do?
And I tried to throw the audition. I was just bitter.
Oh.
And they went ahead and cast me anyway, because it's like, you can't fake. They already know what you're capable of. And it just kind of ticked me off. And I was in an improv group to really do what I would want to do.
You didn't want to do the stuff you would need
I didn't
to
want to do the actual,
Gotcha.
stage theater. I probably needed to go into, kind of pursuing the improv Second City type thing.
Yeah.
Or move out to LA and start to look at, or get into a program that was more for the screen. The reality and I guess honest truth is my ego, though, was pretty bad.
Really?
It's probably a jerk. I mean, I look back now and I think there are multiple people, especially some of the females I dated at the time, that I owe apologies to, but wouldn't even know where to start or how to find them at the begin. It's funny because I think I wanted to be the cool guy on campus in high school, which was typically the jocks, but it wasn't in my cards. But then I got to college and I could be that person in the theater department.
Yeah. You started to believe your own press.
And yeah, absolutely. And I think inside I didn't like who I was becoming, and for whatever reason I had a point of clarity, and it probably saved me from making one of those decisions that would have taken me, and who knows, I don't know if I would have panned out into anything or whatever, right? It's a beauty contest, who knows. But for whatever reason I said I can't do this, I'm done. I actually switched to philosophy at that time
A philosophy major?
and won a scholarship to go study abroad. I was actually a good student. Went over to Ireland, and while I was there, I was like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
Ended
Which
up-
is what philosophy is about.
Right, yeah. So I guess it kind of accomplished its
Yes.
task.
Yes.
And then, drank a lot of Guinness, and then came back and transferred to Western and graduated with a degree in Parks and Recreation.
Okay.
Yeah, so it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And now you sell surgical supplies.
Yeah, so, I mean, if, people ask me, how do I get into medical device sales and into that industry? And I
You
think
say
I
start with Parks and Recreation.
pretty much laid out the perfect path. But it actually makes sense because people are like, wow, how does that happen? I said, well, if you give me a script,
Yeah.
I can memorize it, and I have no fear in front of people.
That's great. That's great.
So, and I'm a sales guy because that was the other thing. So my career today, I say, found me because my dad was a sales guy, and I realized if you needed money, you sold. And that started with selling vegetables at the end of our driveway, which is other stories. My sister and I should have a podcast
You should.
about surviving our childhood. So that's kind of what got me where I am today. So yeah, there you go. Long answer to your question, because what I do today probably isn't what I chose.
Yeah, yeah.
But now being a father of 5 and supporting 6 people, it works. I'm not unhappy.
That's good. So you do enjoy your job.
Yes, but to answer your question, it's been 20-something years since
Wow.
I've been on stage.
Oh, wow.
If you don't count Vacation Bible School,
No.
which I was famous with 5th grade and below. But
So next question about your biography is tell me about your family. How did you meet your spouse? And in kind of the vein, if you want to answer this, in the vein of The Sound of Music, how did you know that she was the one?
okay. My spouse, her stepmom, was roommates with my mother at Ball State University, and we met when she was married, or she still is married to my father-in-law, Jack, Stephanie's dad. But her dad and my father both graduated Wabash College, so we would go up there to Crawfordsville, Indiana, this all-men's college, as kids, and we would hang out together as families. And so I knew her from my childhood, and then my mom and her stepmom being girlfriends. And so we've always known each other kind of, I don't know, sometime before junior high or whatever, kind of quit doing that. But we re-met as adults
Okay.
when she was down visiting with her stepmom at my parents' farm. This was in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Actually, my parents...
Adults like 20-year-olds?
Yeah, so I was actually in my last year of college, and
Okay.
it took me 5 years because of the way I bounced around a little
Okay.
bit. She was out. My mom said, hey, Stephanie Spurway's out here. You haven't seen her in years with, Guyana. You should come out and have dinner with us. And I brought my friend Brian with me. We worked together, and I lived on campus. And I said, hey, man, you want to go to dinner? I was like, if it's...
He was your escape route, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
he's like, if it's bad, we'll bail. But either way, we'll get a free meal.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So, mom can cook. Come on out.
Yeah.
So he was in like, yeah, Brian was kind of my bromance for several years there because I just didn't really date anybody. So he came out, and I was wondering, wow, who is this person that I don't remember? And apparently we were very flirtatious with one another, but I was leaving in like a few weeks to go guide out in Colorado. Did 2 summers of rafting and mountaineering guiding out there. And I said, hey, why don't you write me? Not thinking she would.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't pursuing anything. And she did write me a lot.
Yeah.
And that kind of got things moving. And she came down to visit that fall. And we decided, like, hey, we're a thing.
Yeah.
And we did a long distance relationship that worked. And then by the next summer, I got her above altitude when she came out to Colorado. Took her up to above tree line and then proposed. I don't know. I have my own, I guess, thoughts on that. People are saying, how do you know it's the one? I'm like, well, the one that you give your heart to, that's the one. Like, I'm in it.
Yeah.
It's like...
Yeah.
I also don't think, of course, I didn't know this. We celebrated 20 years in April. 20 years ago, I didn't have the maturity or wisdom, I guess, that God probably provided to know that you shouldn't marry for happiness. Yeah, so we both marry in pursuit to glorify Him, and that's probably been what's kept us together this long.
It's a really different outlook, I would say, not a normal one.
We are happy.
Yeah, I know.
Don't get me wrong.
Yes, of course. Yes.
I mean, she laughs all the time, especially when I hurt myself.
Yeah, oh, yeah, of
We're
course.
at that point in the marriage.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Do you want to talk about your kids?
Yeah, sure. What do you want to know?
Just whatever you want to tell me.
So we have a litter of children.
You do.
We had 4 and 5 years.
Oh, my goodness. I did not realize they were that close.
Yes. So we started out kind of like, my sister and I think first 17, 18 months apart, and then they got shorter thereafter.
What? Do you have Irish twins?
We do, yep.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're going to have 2 birthdays in December.
Wow.
And for a brief period of time,
Is it Stella and Lily?
No, it's Max and Ruby. And then 3 years ago, I believe now,
Mm-hmm.
I need to make sure, but I think it's 3 years, we also brought Mark
Mm-hmm.
home, who is our youngest, and we adopted him from Haiti,
Okay.
which was about a 3-year process to get him home.
And what made you decide you wanted to do that?
I think the original discussion, however you want to phrase it, about adoption took place before we had children. Just an agreement that said, hey, if for some reason we can't have kids,
Mm-hmm.
we'll adopt.
Okay.
And then I think God took that, lack of a better word, oath, and never let us get away from
Forget
it.
it.
And in fact, if anything, it grew in intensity, and we would kind of flirt with it, and then we'd push it down. And then at some point, we were in our 40s and said, hey, if we're going to do this,
We got to do it.
this is the time to decide.
Yeah.
Couldn't get away from it I remember a better part of a year talking to friends, folks that have mentored us, counseled us, and just really saying, ask us the hard questions. Are we, because there's a lot of noble things, but that doesn't necessarily mean you should do them.
True.
We really prayed through that, thought through that, and God just would not let it off our hearts. And obviously now we know it was the right decision. But yeah, so we have, at this moment, I have a 15-year-old. I have 3 girls, 2 boys, girls in front, boys in the back.
So what are their ages?
Stella, who is 15.
She is 15. I thought she was 16. We couldn't
She
decide.
is 15, going on 16.
Okay.
Just wait till March. And then you've got Lillian, who's Ursula. And Lily is 14 now.
Okay.
And then we have Ruby, who is 12, Max, who is 11, and then Mark, who is 10. So right now we have 10, 11, 12, 14, 15.
Wow. That's amazing. That takes a lot. That's a lot of patience right there.
Yeah, I look at pictures when we were doing that, and they stress me out. I don't remember being completely stressed. There were
In the
definitely
moment.
times.
Do you have any hobbies or hidden talents besides theater?
Hobbies or hidden talents besides
Mm-hmm.
theater? Man. I don't know. The only hobby I have now that I enjoy doing when I have the time is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which
What
I've
is
had.
that?
So it's men in pajamas rolling around on the floor together, trying to choke each other or break each other's limbs.
Awesome.
It's grappling. It's a grappling art.
Okay.
That's probably the easiest way to explain it.
Is that how you exercise?
That is how I exercise, which I haven't been doing. So Captain Von Trapp is getting Captain Von Flabby.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
He's Captain Von Winded.
Now that might be true.
Yeah, so that's kind of, and I enjoy it. It's like chess with your body. And
Oh,
so
okay, interesting.
I'm not the kind of guy that's disciplined enough to go into a gym and start doing my own exercise.
I wish I enjoyed that stuff.
I hate
wish
it.
I did.
I hate it. I love games, and it's a game. Jiu-jitsu is a game.
Okay.
But it has some practical self-defense things as well. And we do some combatives and things like that. But that's kind of what I'm into now. I mean, really, between work and raising kids,
You're kind of busy.
it's a tough. I think, and my wife probably struggles with it more. Being at home mom, it's like you're like, what do I even like? Because so much of your life is taken. And I don't think either one of us say that regretfully or.
Yeah.
But you
It's just where you are right
right.
now.
You go back to your 20s. What do you like doing? It's like, oh, this, and this.
You had your free time early.
Yeah.
Some people are coming into their free time now.
So we'll get it back.
Yeah, you will.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's about the only hidden talents. I mean, it seems odd to say to you guys, but my hidden talent is acting.
Well, yeah.
Because
we didn't know about it.
And here's what's funny. I'll give you this story. So my rep in Louisville, his wife is friends with Amy.
Which one? Amy.
Frau Schrader.
Oh, okay.
And I guess was following her on Facebook, and I had a call with him, a coaching call or whatever, and he's like, "Hey, are you?" He's like, "I got a weird question. Are you in a play?"
Are you Von Trapp?
And so I got found out.
That's funny. Did you invite him to the show?
Yeah, he's coming.
Awesome.
I didn't invite him. He's coming.
Okay,
He's like,
good.
oh, man, we're going. He won't miss that. But yeah, so a lot of people don't know that because, again, I haven't done it in
Well, my
years.
next question is, what is something people may not know about you?
I will give you this story. So
Okay.
when I was at Butler, we had to do 2 different semesters of dance, and everybody was taking jazz, and all I kept thinking about was jazz hands. I was like, I don't know, that's dorky. And at that point, I was kind of anti-musical. I like this, and it's funny because here we are doing a musical.
It lured you back.
This is the first musical I've ever sung in.
What? I thought you said you were in
No,
musicals.
I was, but I didn't sing. I was King Sextimus.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you didn't have any. Yeah.
So no. And then the one that they cast me in when I was in college, I'm like,
quit.
I'm done.
You quit.
So
right?
yeah,
Get
so
out.
literally, never done that.
Oh, that's funny.
But so anyway, so going back to the story, so we had to take dance, And everybody was taking jazz. And I'm like, I'm not doing this thing with my hands, whatever. You guys go do that. I was like, I'll take ballet. It's classic.
Yeah.
And I think maybe I had the hots for one of the ballet gals. I don't
Probably.
remember. Probably because I was a jerk. But anyway, so I took that, and it was so flippin' hard. The professor that taught it, I don't think she came out of Juilliard. Maybe. I mean, she was hardcore. And they're a serious dance school, because it wasn't like, I had to take ballet and I'm in a theater, college. No, they also have Jordan College of Fine Arts. Their people are dance majors. So so it's like if you take ballet, majority of the people in your class are pursuing dance.
Yeah, you better stand in the back.
Yeah. So I show up. Nobody tells me what to bring. I show up the first day like sweatpants and a t-shirt, and they're all in their stuff, and they're looking at me like, what is this fool? And the lady gave me like the grocery list and a dance belt, not telling me what that is. And I go like, okay, yeah. I'm thinking like, what? They wear a belt? I remember I went and picked that thing up. I was like, no. No. I've never felt more naked and exposed in all my life. And I have super flat feet. So, they'd be like, point. I'm like, I am point. She's like, point. I'm like, it doesn't bend. See that foot? It's a pancake. It does not. You cannot bend a 2x4.
Let's transition into theater basics. So tell me if you have a dream show or a dream role, and you can do movies or you could do stage, whatever you would like.
Okay. Dream movies for 500 Alex. I would love to go back and reprise the role of a person that I look like. Now, I don't see it, except that I've seen it when people put it side by side, but Nicolas Cage.
Oh, okay.
In Raising Arizona.
Oh, that's a great
H.I. McDonough.
That's a great choice. I always thought, would you rather be in one movie, like, say, Gone with the Wind or Dirty Dancing, one, like, iconic movie, or would you rather have a career of, like, Gary Oldman, where it's just, like, steady work?
I'm not a huge Gary Oldman fan.
Well, I just mean, like,
I think I would be more, I think I'd be more of the Oldham mold.
Yeah, you just would want to be in little bitty things.
Yeah, like, there he is again.
Super fame.
Like, what's his name? Giamatti.
Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, like a Paul Giamatti, where you're like, oh, yeah, I didn't realize he was in that. Yeah,
Okay.
And then on the stage, boy, that's a tough one. It's a tough one. I always liked the part of Willie Loman from Death of a Salesman, but I think it was like Dustin Hoffman doing it. Biff, come on, Biff. And then I did a small snippet of the play when it was part of my auditions, or not auditions, but at the end of Governor's School for the Arts, we would do some soliloquies or scenes. And I think it was for the audience, but there were also colleges that were in the audience, and they were, that were going to.
It's like a mass audition.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, losing the words. But we did a scene from The Elephant Man.
Oh.
And I did Dr. Treves.
Interesting.
And I've been intrigued by that play. I would like to go back to that play.
So would you like to do, it sounds like you want to do more dramas than comedies.
I like comedy. I think it has to be the right comedy.
Do you like
H.I.
slapstick?
McDonough, I mean, come on.
Well, true, that was your movie
quirky.
choice. That's quirky.
And I love
quirky.
The Jerk, too. But,
The Jerk is
but that's
good.
just Steve Martin.
Cans, they hate these cans.
Yeah, that's Steve Martin.
Yeah.
Oh, Nathan.
So, do you like the slapstick on stage? Sounds like you like slapstick movies.
Yeah.
But not quite translating to the stage.
Yeah, probably. I think that's probably true. Yeah. Yeah, I like a good drama on the stage. I think that, like, Mice and Men. Like, there's some classics out there. Like, I'd love to do that play. I mean,
you would have liked 12 Angry Jurors. We already did it.
Yeah,
but you would have enjoyed that. I wonder.
I feel like dramas on the stage showcase the acting better. True. In my opinion, I could be wrong. Where I felt like, especially slapstick, it's like, it's like, yeah. It's like the script writing as much as anything else. Right?
I know what I was going to ask you. Have you seen the movie Death at a Funeral?
I don't think so.
Oh, man, that's one of my favorite.
Which I'm surprised, only because my mother made us watch really weird movies as children that
no, this is not
are bad
child.
parenting, like Harold and Maude, things like this.
No,
yeah,
she did.
Yeah, I don't even know how young we were.
Oh, okay.
We watched The Elephant Man. So that's why I was curious about The Elephant Man play, because when we were small children, my mother made us watch The Elephant Man with Jonathan Hopkins with black and white.
Why?
And she bought the album, and so she would play it to torture that do 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 do, like the carny music. She would for the same reason that like if there was a forecast tonight that there was a 10% chance of snow and we heard it, she would come in our rooms in the morning. She's like, guys, guess what? And we'd be like, oh no, it's cold. She's like, no, it didn't snow. She'd do stuff like that all the time.
because she's evil.
And you guys think she's sweet.
No,
Gosh,
no.
That's why you cast her as the witch
Wicked
appropriately.
witch.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, let's get out of that territory.
Yeah.
What is your method for memorizing lines?
Man, it's funny because doing this play, that question's come up so often. So many folks are like, "Hey, here's what I do. You should do." And
Whatever.
I think I'm like Brian. He and I talk. I literally just look at the page and read through it, and I hear it in my mind, and I keep doing it. If you've paid attention recently, like last night, I know for sure I did this. I pace.
Yeah, you walked around like a crazy person.
Yeah, I can do it for a long time. Yeah, I'm sure I look
Charlotte,
crazy.
No, I appreciate it. I was like, I really like that he's out there just arguing with himself. Just like pacing and talking and looking like a crazy person.
Here's what I think. This will kind of go back to little unknown things about me.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll have fun with this because then it'll make you watch me even a little bit more because I want all eyes on me.
Of course,
Because
yes.
we're feeding the ego.
That's
Let's
right, the
just
ego. You're like, this is what I've been missing.
feed it. I want.
The ego is
We're
bursting
gonna
out
need
of
to
you
grease
like
the doors at Henry County so I get my head in there
Yes.
tomorrow night. Anyway, so I think I have a real active imagination. Did it as a child too, but one of the interesting things is I have a stereotypy.
What is that?
Well, for you playing at home, you'll need to Google that in.
Is it a photographic memory?
No, it's nothing near as cool as that.
Oh.
No, it's far less cool. It is an involuntary response. My pediatrician when I was young. So what would happen is I would get excited. It's always tied to a positive thought or feeling, but like when I was a baby, my hands would go out and wiggle, and I'd go up on my toes and
Like spider crawl?
oh no, just spasm.
Oh no!
And it was usually when I was in my imagination. And like my parents would like, they didn't know as younger when I was really young. Like, was I having little seizures? What was going on here? So they took me in. The doc said, "Yeah, he has an extra involuntary nerve." We found out later it was called a stereotypy. Interestingly enough, my niece has stereotypies, and I'm really thanking God that I did because
Now you know how to.
we have a connection. And our family, they weren't freaked out because we recognized it.
Okay, so what does it mean? What do you do?
So I still have it,
Oh yeah.
but I can control it.
Okay.
My closest family has figured out my new tell.
Okay.
They know
When you're
what
controlling
I
it?
do. No, I see you guessing. So yeah, so that's for yours to figure out.
No,
But it's-
tell me. I have to know.
no, because it's a weird kind of embarrassing thing.
Oh.
Because I can control it, but I can't control it still.
Okay.
But it's
But
always
if you get really
but it's always
excited,
tied.
you have an involuntary movement,
Yes.
and you try to control it.
Yes. I've channeled it into something else. So I don't go up on my toes and point. But what I was going with
Well, you
is...
couldn't point anyway. Flat
So
feet.
it's... no, can't point. Not with my toes. So what I was going with, though, is because this is going back to memorizing lines. I will
Okay.
take you down a rabbit trail.
Let's
But
go.
I will always bring you back.
Let's go.
Not
I will be
always.
Alice.
Sometimes we'll just get lost.
Okay.
So part of that was I had my mom called it the dream path on the side of our house on Lover's Lane, which was where we lived. I would go out and just imagine, make believe, and I would pace back and forth on the side of the house because it felt hidden because we had a hedge in the side of the house. But I was also unaware that I was audience to my entire family who would look out through the window and watch me do this. And apparently I would spaz like crazy.
Because you didn't think you were being seen.
Yes.
Oh.
My little imagination was going, and I was just free to spaz away.
Wow.
And I literally wore a path.
Oh wow.
So
What you're doing out there
I
is you're
can't
spazzing?
explain the sensation.
Okay.
But it is a similar place in my mind, a similar feeling, and that's going to sound really weird. A similar feeling in my mind when you see me with my script out and my imagination is going, but I'm engaged in it, but I'm reading from the script. And that locks it in my head.
Interesting.
I can't sit still. So even in my room at home when I was doing this,
You have to walk around.
I walked around the bed for, I don't know, hour and a half. I would be curious, now that I'm thinking about the other night, I'd be curious if my mom was watching,
If you were spazzing?
Yeah, I wonder about that. I don't think I would be because I was reading from a script. My imagination was going because I was imagining what was happening. I'm on the stage, and I'm imagining the other person. So I'm probably making facial expressions and all that.
Oh, I don't know. All I saw was the back of your head.
But I'm more the movement. Is it like just doing like this? Yeah.
Do your kids know you do this? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, they figured it out.
Okay.
It's shouldn't be embarrassing, but
No.
like, I mean, Steph, like, and I guess shouldn't be embarrassing, but
No.
like, it's kind of like, I'll do something that I'm kind of proud of or whatever, and she'd be like, oh, feeling pretty good. And I realized like she saw it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
Okay, I'm gonna.
but somehow that's tied to how I memorize lines.
Well, if it works, and you're able to memorize.
It does,
lines
but
really
I just
well.
know, and I can't explain the sensation, but the sensation that it conjures, something in my brain clicks on, and it harkens back to the same. It's a positive thing.
That's good.
That I would do when I was a kid.
That's really good. I'm very intrigued now. Who do you look up to as an actor, director, writer, etc., whatever you want to say? It can be famous, not famous,
Oh man.
local.
I mean, there's certain actors I really, really enjoy. I like ones that, there's always a risk, right? They tend to get typecast and they try to break out of it. I think I'm more intrigued by some of the folks that are in supporting roles.
Because they're more character actors.
Yeah. And
Somebody I really liked in the 90s was Johnny Depp, because
he's
early Johnny
very
Depp,
diverse.
he always chose. I always felt like whatever the movie role he just did, the next one he chose was
Went different direction.
completely opposite. And then he would do up until Pirates. I feel like Pirates was kind of the end of that, and then he got into the blockbuster, which I loved him in Pirates. I thought that was a wonderful role, but then he just kind of was like, well,
speaking of two actors, I would say yes on Johnny Depp. And then also, I can't stand him as a person, but I think Leonardo DiCaprio is very talented. And What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Because you think about the roles he's been in, Howard Hughes and so forth.
Yes.
Go back and watch him as Arnie.
Yes.
And
it was amazing.
Gilbert. I mean,
Yes.
he's incredible. Who's? I'm hating this because I can picture the actor and his name's on the tip of my tongue. He played John Glenn in The Right Stuff.
Ed Harris?
Ed Harris, yes.
That's my superpower, is I can finish people's.
Yes.
I have a little Sherlock-style Rolodex.
It was fantastic.
And
Thank
you can just usually hear it go, and I pull out the card.
But there's an actor who, like, you don't think about till you start thinking about what he's been in and the roles he's played. He's played good guys, bad guys.
Have you seen The Truman Show?
Yes.
That's good. Okay, I think you've kind of answered this. Do you suffer from stage nerves, and how do you combat them? You don't suffer from stage nerves, it sounds like.
I do and I don't.
Okay.
If we were doing just a drama, so if I was in He Needed Killing, Take Your Place, probably not. But because I'm having to sing in this one, more than you can imagine.
Yeah,
I don't sing in front of people. I don't solo, and I like.
You don't see me up there anymore.
Like last night, I felt like I couldn't deliver on the acting for you because I was trying to hear the music and I couldn't hear it, and and that really got in my head. And then I start panicking, like, oh, I'm gonna mess this up for everybody, and so that's weighing on me now.
This is the time, typically, and I'm trying to remind Charlotte and myself of it, because there's a lot of you guys that are not new to the stage, which is kind of new to us. And
It's been a long time. It's
Right.
more feeling new than I remember.
Yeah, but it's also, you guys don't know, like with Emma, she's like, I want to do it right and proper and perfect for you guys immediately, and that's not how this works. It's right now we're at the point where we've taken away your books, we've added in this music, you don't have monitors, you can't hear anything, we're shouting at you going, okay, this is a choreography, it just, everything falls apart. And we're right on schedule.
And I'm not here next week.
I know, and I knew
and
you'd
it's
be
freaking me out.
I knew you'd be freaking out about that. And it's just at the point where everything falls apart before it falls back together. So it's right on schedule. And this is the time where we're all of us are going, is this going to work? We've only got 12 rehearsals left. 5.
Some of us have 12 rehearsals.
Yeah, some of us have 9, but it's okay.
Okay.
Because we're right where we always are.
I don't have stage fright. Like, I don't have any like the audience
Doesn't bother you.
doesn't bother me. Mm-hmm. I want to do it really well.
Me too.
If you give me a script, I can do it well. And then it's not I just want to do it well. I want to do it great.
Yeah.
And that's when I get frustrated. Like, I know I can do better.
Yeah.
This one is different because I'm like, I don't even know if I can do that singing well.
But you do. That's the thing. That's what you have to remember about the captain, is you are singing as well as the captain is supposed to. Because the captain has not sung in 20 years. The captain is unsure of himself. So it's exactly what you are. You're perfect for this. You don't have that polished, you have a good character voice. Anyway, you're exactly where you need to be. So don't worry about it. But worry about it. Well, worry about it and then work hard at it. And if you work hard at it, there won't be anything to worry about. Because you'll have done the work, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Why do I keep feeling I have to record this?
You don't. A lot of it can get cut out. Why do you think that theater is important?
Ooh. So much of my adulthood and who I am today is built on a foundation of my theology. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of informs me. But I think God in just his riches and his creativity, for whatever reason. There's no reason that like he had to do it, but he gave us these things to express ourselves that, and he gave some of us certain talents. It's God-given, in my opinion. I mean, it's ours to use or squander, but I think it's another way to glorify him is to use that
David
talent.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's important in that regard. It's like the fact that he gave us that and that we can illustrate life and we can touch the heart. I mean, the movies still have their point, but it's taking us away to something different. I don't know.
It takes you out of yourself. It takes you out of your problems. And sometimes it teaches you something. It depends.
Oh, it totally does. Yeah.
There can be different kinds. Like you said, there can be the yuck funny, which just takes you away from what you're going through and is a deliverance and escapism. A lot of that's probably a lot of why during the Great Depression, it was three, I don't know, my timelines might be wrong, but Charlie Chaplin.
We'll just go with it.
Yeah, sure. And all of that stuff was successful because they needed it.
It's escape.
Yeah. But then there's also the stuff where you watch it, what we try to do with He Needed Killing, which was something that's like talking about
you're
real
conveying
life.
a message. I mean, To Kill a Mockingbird. I mean,
yes,
yeah. I mean,
exactly.
there's some huge messages in those, and I mean, even in Sound of Music has its own.
Yeah. Sometimes the only way you can tell the truth is through art.
Yeah.
Because people won't be ready to hear it.
Yeah, they can't receive it. You can't get past the wall. Sometimes you get to the heart through the theater. But it's like anything. There's a balance. When you talk about escape, I think if you spend your days watching theater and movies and never live in reality, you'll miss it. And I actually think that's the danger with acting. It's guys that get into method acting, and I understand some of that. Because I do try to put myself in the mind of the character. But I used to think method acting, I think when I was in college and I was researching some of those guys, and then you'd hear stories that I think kind of are embellished, like, James Dean. And I'm like, he was hard. I mean, this guy's idolized. He died after 3 movies or whatever it was.
He was dead when Rebel Without a Cause came out.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like, how do we really know?
Dead.
But like Marlon Brando did go on.
Yeah.
But you look at some of these guys that have really given themselves, and that's their MO.
Yeah.
And it destroys them. And I'm like, yeah, because it's my opinion. I don't think that's how it's supposed to work.
Right. What was it? I've said this before, but I think it's when Dustin Hoffman and Laurence Olivier did Marathon Man together. And Dustin Hoffman was
that scene when he gets his tooth drilled.
Is it safe? It was all of that. Dustin Hoffman was like living the life of the person, and Laurence Olivier was like, oh, that's all great. Or you could just act.
You know what? Actually, I'm more impressed by the person that
just acts. Yeah,
like when you see them after that and you're like, oh man, like it shatters your brain. Like, how is this like you're not even that person? Yeah.
I don't know what method I ascribe to. I haven't looked up all the different methods. I probably should. I should be more serious about it than I am. I'm sort of like an amateur admirer of the craft of acting. So I like watching people.
I don't think I would call you an amateur.
Well, I am. You asked me if I went to school, if I was a theater major. No. Everything you see, I have done through...
Yeah, but some of it's probably innate and you're just...
experience.
Feeding
I watched classic movies. I grew up watching classic movies, and I looked at how they did things, and I imitated the people I thought were the great actors. So Cary Grant, Audrey Hepburn, I watched their facial expressions. How did they do this? What did they do in this? Which I should have gone to like acting books, but I didn't. I just watched people and picked up what I liked about what they did. And then in other plays, I watched what I liked that other people did, and I just did my own schooling. And I homeschooled myself for acting and just did it that way. I forget what my point was.
Yeah, I don't know. It may come back.
It may. Okay, let's move on to the next question. If you could wave a magic wand and change any one thing about the theater industry, what would you change?
The politics. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been involved with a production. Although this one, and probably because I'm just somewhat ignorant to it, I've not been involved with the theater. And although I will, and it's not just, because of present audience, I do think the way you guys do things, and I know through family that's been involved, you do it the right way. And I think that comes from the top down.
I hope.
It shows. And I'm sure you guys get flack for it, which is, again, that's the politics, is that it should be merited based on your ability and what the role, what attributes that character needs, and the directors, casting directors, they make that call. Not because you built sets or you're, contributing more or you've put in your dues in these minor roles, so now you can... that drives me nutty.
Yeah, me too.
I'm like, no.
Yeah.
How about we cast the best person? And if they're bad people, then we'll ask him to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
That's one of the things Emma and I talked about.
But that's been some of the turnoff for some other theaters. And I mean, my life, having the big family, Steph stay at home. I always say she's not paid to work, but she works harder than I do.
Right.
My life is such that I can't really do theater right now. This was a special, unique opportunity. Mm-hmm. But it hasn't even really been a temptation because of some of the dynamics I've seen in some of the area theaters.
Before the Theatre Downstream, you mean?
Yes. Yeah. And I would say if it were some of the other ones we won't mention, I probably wouldn't be real tempted.
Mm-hmm. Well, I won't comment.
Yeah.
But
we'll leave that there.
I agree. I think I commented enough in Emma's. I had my spill about it. I don't want to keep pounding that drum.
No.
Okay, so this is the question I promised you from earlier.
Ooh.
This is now, we're moving into Sound of Music specific.
Okay.
Which is, why did you want to be a part of this production? After so many years, what brought you back?
So what brought me back was my daughters, specifically Stella. Mm-hmm. I went to the Sunday audition. I'm trying to think what day it was. Was it a Saturday audition? What a day? I think you guys did a Friday and you did a Saturday.
Yes, that sounds right. And then we took Sunday off, and then we did Monday.
So what happened was Friday, they had talked about it. Mom was like, "Oh, we really, you should be in one of these productions. You should do this." And I don't know how many times we had the conversation. Look, I'd love to. I think it'd be great. I'm just an hour away, and you know what I do for work, and blah 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 blah.
Right.
Blah. So this one, they were going to let Stella go for, like Steph had said, because Stella's very talented, and I'm not saying that because I'm her dad.
Yeah.
I mean, she's gifted. I mean, she
really
can
is.
sing. She works hard at it too. So it's not even like she's just kind of skirting by. So she was going to go for it. Well, she more than anybody else was like, "Dad, you just go on." Like would not let it go. And then
Relentless.
Steph's mother was there this was on a Friday night, and I had no plans of going. It was Steph's mom, I think, that said, "I've never seen daughter more excited to do something with her father." And that got me past the tipping point of not even auditioning. So that got me to the, okay, I'll audition, but I don't know that I'm going to accept the role. Like, and they were like, "Well, just go audition. You don't have to take it." Like, but then I knew, like, I can't audition
and then say I'm not taking it.
Yeah, it's like that doesn't, like, I know myself.
Yeah.
So it was that opportunity, because I will tell you, like, again, you've kind of heard I'm not a musical guy, but I was like, this opportunity won't happen again. I remember I called so I have 7 direct reports, and I called the one in Nashville, and I've known her for a long time, and she has a couple older sons, and she's been through some hard stuff, but we've just had some good heart moments, and I just appreciated that. But I called her and I said, "Hey, look, you know what I do for work, and you know how much I travel and how much I'm gone. Here's what's going on. I can't tell my boss because he would be like, 'What are you, an idiot?' We're salespeople." Like, her comment back to me when I gave her everything, she's like, "You have to." And I said, "What?" She's like, "You have to." She's like, "Next year your daughter may not want to even be around you."
Yeah.
Okay. So, and that was before I'd been offered, but I had to actually have that decision.
You had to take it all the way in your mind to know if you were going to go for it.
That was when I finally surrendered. Be like, okay. She's like, "It'll work out."
That's a good support system.
But I will tell you, like, I have to remind myself why, because we did this without also taking into account, like, this gets into my fiscal year, beginning of my, like, work. So it's a crazy time with work right now. And then we also kind of forgot that my wife was having surgery in the middle of all this.
Oh.
So she went away for that. So that's also, and then she's recovered. I mean, it's worked out.
But honestly, I don't know anymore.
There's never a good time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And I think that's maybe what you learn as an adult.
Yeah, it's like people say, "When are you going to have a kid?" Well, I'll wait till it's the right time. Well, if you wait till it's the right time, you're never going to have a kid, because there is no right time.
I think we're going back. I shouldn't lump everybody in, but I think I'm going back when I think that way to what I was in my 20s, where I had so much time and zero responsibilities.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not today's
That's
world.
gone.
That world is no more.
And that will not come back.
That world is like Stranger Things world before electronics and before
exactly.
all
That's
of
the
that.
upside down.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That is gone. Well, what do you feel like is the most intimidating part of bringing this iconic movie musical to the stage, or being cast in an iconic role?
Oh, it's the audience pressure. So you did say, like, I don't have stage fright, but where I'm like, yeah, I like the Sound of Music. I remember watching it. Like, I've met so many people. They're like, "Oh, that's one of my favorites." And then you're like, oh no.
No.
Yeah, like,
what if I'm not right
yeah,
for this?
exactly. Like, so they've got in their mind who Captain Von Trapp
all
is.
manic-eyed on you and like glassy-eyed, and they're like, yes.
Yes, and it's like, oh, freaking me out. Yeah, it's like I feel like they're the ones that after the play, they're going to come up and be like, I don't appreciate what you did. I don't appreciate how you disrespected the role.
Yes.
And I hate you. If I could stab you in the throat without being arrested, I would do so. Yeah. So that more than anything else is like, there are people that like, this is like when you said, what's your favorite play? There are people like Sound of Music, like I've seen it like, and then they, like the typical like that's probably one of the turnoffs to me to musicals is like the people that loved them. You'd be like
the rabid fans.
Oh, and they can't help themselves. Like
No.
then they can't just tell you I like the set. They're like the hills or the. You're like
start
why?
singing
We're in a
at you.
subway. Could you not? Yeah,
The rabid. I mean, and they love what you love, and it's wonderful that they love it, but they don't realize how intimidating it is. Yes, and then you're up there just like, oh gosh.
Yeah, it is iconic, and that's probably the terrifying part because it's not to me, but it is to them.
Yes. You're like, I don't love this enough.
I had to call and get it off my chest. I think I called my sister first because Mom didn't pick up, and I said, I've got to say something. And she's like, yes. I was like, I'm not a big fan of the Sound of Music. And this is after, like, now I've started to actually warm up to it.
Yeah.
But early on, I was like, I'm trying to get excited about this, but I'm not excited because it's not what, like, I'm not big into musicals, and this isn't even like in my top 5. And I was like,
I'm just here for Stella.
and now people are going to want to kill me.
So I was so.
Yes, so that's
maybe
awful.
my advice to you is maybe it will change because
It is. As I've started to get it. Well, here's the other thing. As we've done the musical versus the movie, and I like the direction you've taken, and you've also given me some freedom to say, okay, hey, I think maybe this is what he's thinking. That's allowed me to get more engaged with it.
You could not have found a more hostile co-director than me when we did Mary Poppins, because I was one of the rabid fans of Mary Poppins. I was like, Mary Poppins is my jam. Bert and Mary are my people, and this play is nothing like the movie. We don't have any penguins. I was very upset, and they all knew it. Everybody knew it. I was like, this is not the same. So finally, we get to Tech Week, and I would always say, I'm like, well, it's not the movie. And it's terrible when your director's just like, she doesn't like us. But finally we get to like, oh, I don't know, maybe Tech Week or Dress Week. And I finally went, okay, I really like this show now. And everyone was like, oh, yay. So it transferred.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm getting there. It's weird, though, because
it took me a while.
Well, and the way this play's done, I still don't feel fully engaged with it because there's like this whole other play I'm not in. Like there's a lot of parts I'm not in.
Yes.
And then I see things like the nuns, and I'm like, wow, yeah,
they're really
that's
good.
pretty amazing.
Yeah, they're really good. But there's like 6 different stories. I think it's fascinating that we called the nuns and Maria's not called. Maria's never with the nuns. She never sings with the nuns.
That's wild.
She's in a scene with Mother Abbess.
That's right. I don't mention half my kids' names.
No. You're not sure who they are.
No.
Poor Friedrich.
Who's that? Is that one of the kids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a dad. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but that's clearly so. Yes, that's an easy question. It is the fanatics.
Yes.
Terrify me.
Which we're very happy that you guys are all happy.
I want security.
But you're terrifying
at the end of
us.
each night.
Please tell him he did a good job.
So I just want to make it safely to my car.
Yes. Let him get to his car.
I have my children.
What are you looking forward to the most about being able to play this character?
Honestly, one is I want the singing to have sung well. Mm-hmm. Because that's a challenge for me. And I would say normally like it would be ego fed, but I'm maybe self-aware enough to go, I'm an okay singer. I'm not a great singer.
But you don't have to be a great singer.
I know, but I want to do it well.
I think you're a very good singer.
Well, thank you. But I think if I feel that way by the end, that's going to be an accomplishment, and that's going to feel really good. And the other one is I'm taking advantage of, now that we're off book and things, I'm taking advantage of getting back into acting because that's what I miss.
Yes.
There is the joy of doing something that you were made to do.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe?
It makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Yes. And I remembered what I was going to say earlier. It was my method. What I trailed off and couldn't remember what I was going to say. My thing is that I don't method act. I don't know what it's called, but I think of, all I can compare it to is, okay, I played Annie Sullivan in The Miracle Worker. So instead of, I read about her, I learned about her. I'm like, okay, what is she like? What's her personality? But then I didn't become her. I just thought about her experience, and I felt for her. So I felt like when she was in the orphanage and all that stuff, I thought, this is so sad for her that I want everybody else to know how sad it was for her, so I want to portray this in the right way. And I don't know what kind of method that is, but I think about them and put myself as like, I want to portray them so that the audience knows them, but I don't think of myself as being them.
Like a conduit almost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, like that.
Huh. I've never really thought about it that way.
And I don't know if there's a name to that method, but that's how I do it. But then at the same time, so the negative to that is when I first come on stage, I am very aware that I am acting. So that's
Interesting.
it's my nerves kicking in because I have very high anxiety. I love rehearsals. Performances make me very anxious because I'm afraid of messing it up, but I've worked hard. I know my lines. I know all of that stuff, but I'll get up there and it's in my brain. It'll be like, because I can't get out of my director brain. So in my brain, I'm going, you are saying lines. Now you're walking around the couch. Now you're raising your hand until I get into it, like 20 minutes or 10 or whatever it takes me to just
There's a
slip
warm
in.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something I'm a little concerned about. Again, not because I think I'll do a terrible job. It's probably one of the things that I'll know, maybe you will know. But yeah, it's like, I want to come strong out of the gates. Like from the moment I get on there, I want to be Captain Von Trapp.
And maybe it comes from I'd have to do a play where I'm in it from the opening moment. It might not be that bad. It might not happen as much, but there's been a couple plays that I've done where I don't come on for a while. So you're just sitting back there and waiting. So you've got more time to be in your own head before you go out. I would think like curtain open if you were on stage. I wonder if it would be that way.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know.
I never thought about that. Huh.
Well, at least I remembered what I was going to say.
Yeah, no, I like that.
What is your method for getting in the same frame of mind as your character?
No, I mean, I do think about him. I think about everything that's led up to the moment that he starts to speak. So like when he comes in the opening scene, I'm thinking about he lost his wife.
Yeah.
He is a naval captain. He believes that
The kids remind him of her,
the kids remind him of her.
so he avoids them.
For him to show emotion is weakness because he's military. So he shoves that down, and that's creating this inward tension because his heart is hurting, but he can't dare show that.
How long do you think that she's been gone in our play?
Like at least a couple weeks.
Good golly. They've already been through
No,
several
I think.
governesses.
Well, you got to think about it. So I look at Gretel and I use her to kind
As
of
a measuring
gauge,
rod?
but they don't really.
Scarlet fever in real life. I looked that up.
Oh yeah, I didn't. Good for you. I didn't even research. Like how do you, I don't know. I feel like it's like 6 years or something. But how long is it?
I don't know. I think it's
I have homework.
a couple years. In the play they don't tell us.
No, they don't.
And they don't tell us what she died from. So I would guess 2 years.
You think it that soon? I need to go look because that kind of changes.
Well, to me, okay, let's think through it because there's a scene where the kids are right before the dance, the waltzing. The kids are talking about Louisa.
Yeah, who is it? Says I remember a lady.
It's Louisa. So if she remembered, well, she might have been gone
But
for a while.
But that's what I mean. So that's what made me think it was longer because
Yeah.
I remember.
But she can't quite place her.
Yeah, so she had to be pretty young.
So maybe
So that's what I mean. So
it could have been.
I wondered.
Gretel's
You said Scarlet Fever. I was thinking like, did she die in birth with Gretel?
Childbirth.
And that's why.
But
You would think I would have gone back and researched all this. And this is something
Well,
that
you're
the
not a fan of
fanatics
him.
are going to hear, and they're going to hate me more.
they're going to stab you harder.
He's not a Von Trapp.
Okay, so that'll transition into what do you love about your character and what's the easiest, hardest part to identify with?
I love that, and it's a cheesy moment, and I'm actually still trying to work through how to act it out. But I love the moment, the first time he sings. That's a huge moment in his life, right there.
He just kind of gets overcome and just does it.
Yeah, and it's supposed to get choked up, and I will say I'm struggling with this right now because I think I could let myself get there, but these guys, these
Schmucks.
hooligans that we've got as my children can't handle it.
They can't.
They wouldn't know what to do if they looked up and Captain Von Trapp
Well, they
was
need to
crying.
do that though, but they need to.
But I
it up.
feel like I love that. I really like the argument,
I like
and I want to keep working that because there's
Yeah.
so much there.
Yeah, I like that one.
She has found
His nerve.
his hidden
Yes.
weakness, his nerve,
Yes.
and she is just thumping it.
Yes.
He's trying to escape, and she is just whacking it.
Yes, she is. Yes.
And he breaks, and then just about the time he thinks, "No, I'm not letting that out. Stop it."
Then the kids
Like
start singing.
Then that happens, and he's
a little puddle.
He's undone.
Yes, he's a little puddle.
And I've got to get that. I got to figure out how to act that because he would come undone.
And the kids, if you do that, the kids need to like be professionals and not laugh.
So that I love that about the character, and he's complex. I mean, a little bit when I start. It's a lot crammed into a little bit of play, but there is a lot of complexity to him. I'm trying to sort of.
I'm hoping that.
And I enjoy him more when I
complexity.
start to think about that.
Yeah, I hope we're adding complexity because I think you could do it pretty surface.
Yes, and I like the Elsa dynamic. I like, and that I can understand. Like, he's a man of emotion, so he can be emotionally attached, and then that emotion can change, and it sounds shallow, but I'm like, but that's the fickle human heart too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And as much as we want to pretend that we're all noble, we're fickle, and so he's human. And then what I don't like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the writing or whatever, but it's the romance. Like I'm
There's not much.
there's not much, and yet that's what I think it goes back to this. The fans. The fans want the romance.
They want those close-ups from the movie.
Yes.
They want to see
and I'm
that,
like,
and that's hard to
how
do.
do you give the people what they want?
Yeah.
Because the lines are certainly not helping me. They're not written to give you that.
So what you have to do is you have to add in the body language.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
With the hands that we've
So I'm
inserted,
making a lot
and
of
the
eye
eyes.
contact
Make
with
eye
her,
contact.
which I think Emma's handling well because
Yeah.
I wondered if it was going to weird her out.
Well, what you could do is just tell her ahead of time. Anytime that I've had to do stuff like that, what I do with my acting partner, say, okay, I'm going to try
And
this.
she's done it, and I've talked about in the dance. Like we need to. We
Yeah.
said that. Like, look, now that we get the footwork down, we
Yeah.
need to start here.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
that
This.
tension has to get.
Yes.
Get,
Amped up. That's what they're going to want to see.
Yes.
What they're going to want to feel is that
And-
electricity.
And I find that if I'm
eyeball to
eyeball to eyeball, this will do what it's supposed to do.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And for the audience at home, I was pointing to my body. Not in a very seductive way.
Just gesturing.
Just gesturing.
Yes. How would you have felt about Maria if it was you? If Joshua met Maria, how would you have felt about her?
If I actually met Maria?
Yeah. The Maria in the character.
Okay.
I'm not saying Emma, I'm saying Maria. Would you have liked her?
I think I would have liked her as a person. I would not be attracted to Maria.
That was her answer too. She's like, I don't think I would have. Yeah.
A little childish for my liking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is our version of the production bringing something new to the story, do you think?
Oh, I think in a lot of ways. I like especially what you guys are doing with Frustrator.
Me too.
With Elsa. I love that character isn't necessarily a bad
Person.
individual. I don't know. I mean, I think about she's had her own grief. Somehow she lost her husband. And,
Yeah.
you know, that's a role character in the movie. I'm like, you know, whatever. And it's been a long time since I really sat down and watched that thing in depth. But yeah, I think the way we're doing that and her relationship with Captain, and I'm really enjoying the Max Elsa
Friendship?
friendship, and with
Yeah.
the Captain. I think that's a cool thing that the play does that the movie really doesn't.
Yeah, I like watching your all scenes. I meant it when I said you guys look so comfortable together. You look like real life friends that are just hanging out on the porch.
Yeah. And I
in the
think
patio.
they bring out something different in him too.
Yeah. Okay, that will transition into my other question, which is kind of a statement, and I want your opinion on it, which I think you've kind of already said. We've kind of talked a lot during rehearsals about inserting the subtext into the show. The way the lines are written, there's a really quick move of the captain's affections from Elsa to Maria. It's just like seconds apart. My opinion is that in our version, unlike the movie, Elsa's not the wrong choice for the captain. She's just not the right choice. Do you think it helps or hurts the story to have Elsa? Or should it just be a straight love story between the captain and Maria?
Oh, I think it helps.
Why do you think it helps?
I think for a few things. One is it kind of puts the context of that time. I mean, these are barons and there's like almost a caste system, so you're reminded of that. I think it really illustrates his heart that this one's for the fans, you Sound of Music fans, you romantics out there. But I think it shows that love kind of surpasses all these confines of society, and you know, to wax philosophical a little bit.
Why do you think that people should come see The Sound of Music, our version of The Sound of Music?
First and foremost, I think they should come see it for the same reason I would say come see your productions. And what's kept me coming, and it isn't just because my mom had been involved in some of your plays, and that was what got me there. But
Which I don't know if people realize your mom is Nancy Ruwet.
Ruwet.
I'm sorry. Ruwet.
You like the way I just got real precocious on you? It's
That's okay.
It is Ruwet.
Ruwet.
And it's Nazi.
Nazi.
Nancy Ruwet. But that's kind of what got us out there because it's, like I said, it's not in our backyard. We're on the east side of Frankfurt.
Right.
But then when I came out, I was like blown away at, first of all, the talent that you guys find.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. And when my mom starts to give me the background on some of these people, and they're like, wow, it's not just like they came in with a lot. Like you maximized what they brought. And so that's really cool to see. But then the sets, like what you guys have done with that little theater, it's top notch for what it is.
Space.
Yes. And that's what it doesn't seem when you're in the audience.
No, it does not.
But now being on stage is like, there's no space.
There's nothing here.
And it's
that's
amazing. I don't think the audience will ever appreciate it, but I have like a whole other appreciation for that. But I think that it's the quality of the productions that you guys have done, which is also another reason where I feel a lot of pressure with this.
I can understand
because
that.
the bar's pretty high.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I mean, I shouldn't say for community theater because that almost sounds like a burr.
No, it's okay.
But from community theaters, right? This big world of them, it's amazing to me. And
Thank you.
I think if you like community theater, this is top shelf. That's why you should come. And then I think the other thing too is something we talked about earlier is I don't see the politics. It's not there, at least to my knowledge, not present when we're doing rehearsals.
Right.
I genuinely have enjoyed working with the crew who I didn't know from Adam.
Right.
I mean, when we talked about Elsa and Max and the captain,
it's
because I feel like when John, Amy, and I are up there and we're just hanging out, they're just easy to be with.
John's amazing.
The children, like you guys, like they're funny.
Yeah.
And I really have enjoyed being with them. I'm only sad because I haven't got to know, because it's such a big cast and the way that the scenes are. I've intentionally like put something today for the nuns because I am amazed by them.
They're really good.
It's incredible. Some of them, what they've done with the character, like the characters they have, I love. I mean, I could go on and on, but I think first and foremost, it's the quality of the production. I think you've cast really well.
Thank you.
And I think that'll be seen. But then I also think the storyline, like you said, it's all the subtext that we're bringing to the service.
Adding.
So if you don't come in with "This is my Sound of Music," then I think you're going to go away with like, "Wow, that was a really cool Sound of Music. It brought a whole lot more to the story."
Yeah, that's what I like doing.
Yeah,
I really like finding new things and.
I think it's like revisiting a treasure chest and not realizing there were some rubies in there and other things.
Yeah, we did that. We did that in Annie. We added a whole lot of, I guess, hand touching is my specialty because we added in a whole lot of the whole Daddy Warbucks.
Goes back to the Helen Keller days.
Yes, let's touch hands. Oh, it's a moment.
You were the miracle worker. You like dance.
Yes. Okay. We are now to the fun questions.
I thought you were going to say we're halfway through. I'm like, this is really
Well,
long.
these are faster.
Okay.
So maybe.
Here we go.
Depends on.
Speed questions. Rapid fire.
Rapid fire is just whatever comes to your mind first.
Yes.
So if you could choose the next Theatre Downstream show, what would it be?
Oh, yeah, but you're not asking rapid fire questions.
Well, just name a show.
Elephant Man.
There you go. You did it.
Did
Period.
you want a musical?
What kind of roles do you prefer? Dramatic.
Probably. Now you're putting words in my mouth. Dramatic or dark comedy?
Oh, okay. I like dark comedy. I approve. Okay, here we're going with I told Emma, I was left to my own devices. So these are Sound of Music inspired questions. In honor of the Sound of Music, what is your worst habit?
A worst habit.
Do you get it?
I like it. Sometimes when I get nervous, I scratch my scalp.
Ooh, I do that when people are sitting behind me. I like to sit in the back of the room because I feel like people are looking at the back of my head, and then my head itches, and I'll sit there and I'll scratch my head.
Mine's more like I find something on my scalp and I pick, probably till it bleeds.
That's funny.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's gross.
It's all right. If the hills were alive, what do you think they would say to you?
Run to the hills.
How do you solve a problem?
Like Maria?
Just how do you solve a problem?
How do you solve a problem?
Yeah, what do you do to solve a problem? If you've got a problem, how do you solve it?
You pray.
That's a good answer. What's the one thing you have confidence in? Do you see what I'm doing here? It's
I'm with you.
It?
Yeah, I'm smelling what you're stepping in.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're picking up what I'm throwing down.
Yeah. What do I have confidence in?
Yeah.
God's sovereignty.
Oh, that's a good answer. I like that. What is a name you call yourself?
Wiggy.
What?
It's my nickname.
What is it?
Wiggy.
Wiggy?
Yeah.
It's because you itch yourself? Is it because you itch yourself?
No, that is a story that actually Nancy Ruwet could.
Ruwet.
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 We probably say it wrong. It's Belgium. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one that she could probably best illustrate. I could show you some pictures, but I was a very fat baby.
Aw.
No, I'll show you a picture and you won't go, oh, you'll be like, oh
No,
my.
No, she showed us pictures from you were on our mantle and he needed killing.
Yeah, you probably saw, was that the one that was in the sailor suit?
I believe so.
Yeah. I want to recreate that picture badly because she's super groovy in it. And I think Liza has a weird dress too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so super fat, so they called me Bigum, and then it was Bigum Wigum. And then as I started to slim down, it became
Wiggy.
Wigwam, and then Wiggy. Wig is kind of when I was cool in my teens and 20s.
Okay.
But I am Uncle Wiggy to my
That's
niece
really
and
cute.
nephew.
It's like stuck with your whole
And I don't,
life.
and it's funny because it never bothered me. Like,
Yeah.
you know, some of my friends were like, Wiggy, you know, and it just like, I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, I was fine with it. That is a name I call myself.
How far do you think is a far, far way to run? Is that the way that goes? Far.
A long, long way to run?
Yeah. What is a long, long way to run?
A long, long way to run?
Uh-huh.
The moment I have to give up while being chased.
When the zombies are coming.
Yeah. The moment they bite me.
Can you sew?
No, I wish.
Tea or soda?
Soda? I don't know.
I don't know.
50-50.
Okay.
There's a lot of I got choices on both ends.
Okay. Describe yourself in one word when you were 16 going on 17.
Oh, on the cusp of making some bad decisions.
That's not one word.
Oh. It took me to a moment that I wish I could go back to and change. Immature, I guess.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's one word. What are a few of your favorite things? So not people, things.
Bourbon.
Okay.
A good tobacco pipe and a good aromatic tobacco. Comfortable clothes.
Oh, yes.
Good
That's
shoes.
That's very important.
Oh, coffee.
Oh, see, I'm not a coffee drinker. I like the way it smells, but I don't like the way it tastes.
Yeah, but when you find one that tastes like it smells,
That's true.
your head will just melt off your shoulders.
I'm a tea drinker, but I also like soda, so I would have both of those.
There's a few of my favorite things.
Why do you think the goat herd was lonely if he was surrounded by all those people?
Only the goat herd knows.
Can you yodel?
I don't know. I haven't really tried.
Okay.
I'm working on my bosun's whistle,
Yes.
which I think I said that the right way. But yeah, yodeling.
good to me.
We'll work on yodeling later.
What is your favorite flower?
Oh, I like bloodroot.
What is that?
It's one of the first flowers in the spring to come up. And
Like
it's a
the
white
daffodils?
flower. No, it's a wildflower. It's a white flower, and it's just like almost like a daisy, but it's symmetrical. But it's one of the first flowers of spring. But then it's also cool. If you pull the root up and break it, it bleeds, and it looks like actual blood. And it's just been a... It's just, I don't know. That or the tulip. I always liked tulips when I was a kid.
Tulips are
But
pretty.
probably bloodroot.
Would you like to climb a mountain, ford a stream, or follow a rainbow?
Climb a mountain.
If you had to say so long farewell to the life you're living today, where would you go? Your family gets to go with you. We're not leaving them behind. But like the Von Trapps, if you had to leave everything, just had your family, where would you go?
On to the mission field.
Foreign?
Maybe.
Any particular foreign field you would like to go to?
I've always been intrigued with the rainforest.
All right, good job. You made it through. Final 3 questions.
Oh.
These are the same questions we ask everybody in every interview we've done.
Okay.
What is your best advice for other actors?
Don't be afraid. Don't think about how it might look or sound.
Commit to it.
Commit to it. Yeah, give yourself to it, and then you'll get direction if you need to refine it. But yeah, just give yourself to it. Don't hold back.
What would you tell the 10-year-old version of yourself?
Motorcycle driving is not really a career choice.
Not practical.
No, I was kidding. Listen more and speak less.
That's good advice. Last one. If you knew you could do something without fail, what would you choose to do? Any profession, any hobby, anything you knew it's going to be more successful than you could possibly imagine. And good things would happen. Not like you're acting where you become an actor and then become a jerk.
I probably would go back into acting, like going to movies, going to the screen. Part of me was saying it'd be cool to be like this amazing banjo player, but I think going back to that dream at one time, even it was kind of in a corrupt mind of wanting to be on the screen.
You know, Alan Rickman didn't start until he was, I don't know how old, but he was older.
And then people quit for strange reasons that I thought were like Rick Moranis. What?
Yeah, he's just gone.
Who was brilliant.
Yeah.
Another guy I really
Yes, I really
enjoyed.
liked him.
Yeah, and I think it would have been cool to see what he would do as he got older.
Who else has quit? That was good in the 80s. Steve, I just saw him in a movie the other day.
What's the movie?
Gutenberg.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's just gone.
Yeah.
Come back, Steve.
Cocoon.
Yes, that was a good one. Have you seen High
Maybe
Spirit?
it was Police Academy that made him quit.
Maybe Police Academy 17.
He saw a rerun and he was like, I'm done. Nick Cage, on the other hand, has made worse movies. They get worse, and he just keeps going.
He just keeps going. He's like, I got bills to pay, so send me a script. I'll do
Islands
it.
to pay for.
I could probably hire him at this point. He will be in my movie.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that is the end of the questions. You did wonderfully. Is there anything else you would like to say?
No, I just really enjoyed this.
Good.
I wish it wasn't at such a stressful time in my life.
Yeah.
It's not that things are bad right now. I just have too many irons in the fire.
Mm-hmm.
So it is probably not letting me enjoy it to the extent that I could.
Perhaps when you get to performances, you won't have
I'm
rehearsals
hoping
every night.
I'm hoping I can just check out
Yeah.
that time and really just be.
Do you think you'll act again?
I would love to think so.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you're more of a summer actor then.
I mean, I'm grieving a little bit when it's funny because as much as I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get my time back because this is.
But then you're going to be sad when it's over.
Yeah, because it was 20-something years.
Yeah. I can't remember if it was Emma that I was talking to this about, and I think it was. I feel like a lot of the time that we as people will spend all of our time and energy doing things that we're not passionate about just to kind of get by, and the stuff that we really want, the things that really bring us fulfillment and happiness and joy, we just go, okay, I'll get to that later. And there is no later.
No.
Someday is a day that, what is it? It's in that movie, the Tom Cruise movie.
Top Gun.
Night and Day. No, that would have been really good at Full Circle.
Risky Business.
But someday.
Which one was it?
Night and Day. Someday is just another way of saying never.
Ah.
And I think people do that. It's like, if this brings you joy.
I was going with Mission Impossible, but okay.
Well, okay. Night and Day.
You're like,
a good
I just
one.
want to give it.
I'm just trying to be profound, and you're
Like,
not
shut.
letting me.
Remember your
finish.
10-year-old self?
That's right. Listen to your own advice. That's what I would say, is do it anyway.
Yeah.
Find a way to do it.
Make it now.
Yes. So thank you.
Adieu.
Adieu.
To you.
And you, and you, and you. I love how he says that. And you, and you, and you.
And you.
Special thanks to Joshua Ruwet. Next week, we sit down with the third member of the Maria, Captain, and Elsa love triangle, Miss Amy Jeanette Jameson. Very special thanks to the sponsors of The Sound of Music, Eminence McDonald's and United Citizens Bank and Trust. This episode of Getting Real was executive produced, edited, and written by me, Ashley Raymer-Brown.
It was produced and co-written by me, Bree Highshoe.
Music was provided by Final Cut Pro, and artwork was created by Ashley Raymer-Brown. That's me, and Bree Highshoe.
That's me.
Getting Real is a separate entity from the Theatre Downstream. The thoughts and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not reflect the thoughts and opinions of the Theatre Downstream or the sponsors of their shows. Thanks for listening.